Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an early morning here. Welcome to the Wayne Jones Show. This is episode 10. I couldn't be any more excited to do this episode today. I have with me a man who is a man of many talents, but a lot of the guests on my show have been in the entertainment world, have maybe been actors, been comedians, but this guy has all that naturally, but he is a business aficionado extraordinaire. Insert whatever adjective you want that just means awesome and effective. He's a marketing master, just an all-around great guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my man Ryan Holtz, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yo, man, thank you so much for having me on the show. I think we have to start off the show with one quote, and my favorite quote is, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship." And I think that in 2017, the world is evolving, the world's changing. I think that humanity is changing as we know it. I'm very passionate about, speaking to the people, talking to the people, understanding different people, and so thanks so much for having me on your show.
Look at that. This guy comes in with a quote ready off the hop. I'm telling you, marketing is no joke, man. When done right, advertising, marketing, it's no joke. Ryan, today is actually the first day that we've met in person. We've been friends now online for a while.
Yep.
I've seen what
that Tinder stuff, baby.
Yeah, we
we
both
swiped to the
right,
wrong.
We both swiped right. Is right the right way?
Yeah, don't tell my wife. She'll get really upset.
You know what?
And the fact that you're a dude, that creates more conversation.
She will not watch. She will not watch the Wayne Jones Show. I promise. We're not good at the women market.
Cool,
but
cool.
No, we've been friends for a while now online. It's great to meet you finally in person.
Cool, man.
And not very many people can you get a sense of who they are or how they act just from online. Usually it's like, oh, there's their photos. This is what they're up to. This is what they do. You're very active online. We've talked. We've messaged each other. You've referred me business before. You're quite active online.
You still owe me that lunch. You still owe me that lunch.
I still owe you that
Chris,
lunch.
Man. I got that IOU. It's in my folder. It's in the folder.
I'm trying to get away with the water, but I'm going to have to buy food at some point. But so let's talk a little bit about being online and what's it like having a personality online and really, being able to shine through, because you're someone who you can actually look at, follow your videos, you feel like you know you. I feel like your followers and people who watch you know you because you put so much of yourself into that. So what's that like? Tell me what it's like to really show yourself online. You know what?
I think it's, the word, I always say, like, wake up introspective, self-aware, and, with humility. I think that, self-awareness brings vulnerability. A lot of people I talk to who are, apprehensive about showing some of their life online, it's usually a vulnerability question. But I think showing yourself online, it has to be very authentic. I want when somebody meets me through Instagram or Snapchat or LinkedIn, when they meet me in person, it just continues on. I don't like false representation. I've went to several meetings where, somebody has this huge personality online, then I meet them and it's just like crickets in the background. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And it makes me feel like you're being shady with me. Like you're giving me some BS. Can you swear on the show or no?
Oh, swear, go crazy.
This is some bullshit, and it's just, there's no fancy word of putting it. So I think for me, I always basically, I kind of do an inventory check, and I do something called forcing functions, and forcing functions are, if I have a goal, a lot of people say once you have a goal, sometimes fear sets in. So forcing function for me could be something that, maybe I wake up at 5 a.m. and I do a workout. So now automatically I'm already starting off my day properly. But I really try to be, extremely, extremely self-aware in terms of the vibe I am putting out. I am a very private person, contrary to what many believe. And, people in my close circle know that, it's funny, like as much as I show online, it's maybe like 7% of my life.
Right.
So, I'm married, that I have a child, that, I do some marketing, I speak.
A dog, Oomsy.
I have a dog, Oomsy. Yeah. So, I show those things, but, other things, it's for the Holtz fam, and,
right.
And I do believe in, having that kind of, mystique around it. But I think that when you're in business now, especially, and for you, I know you're in entertainment, but personal branding is everything, man. And even if you're a corporate person, you go to work and you work at a bank and you're snoozing and you're doing the 9-to-5 thing, you got to look for ways to put your own spin on that.
Right.
You got to look for ways to be remarkable. Going to, everybody's talking about the world headquarters of Amazon coming, right? And it's like, for every $21 million that Amazon generates, they only need 9 employees.
Wow. Yeah.
Like,
that's
so
crazy.
If you're somebody that's just handing in a paper resume, really?
Yeah.
So online, show yourself, have fun with it, engage. And if you notice, and I'm sure you can attest to this, I don't even really show you many ads about Ryan Holtz Marketing.
Right.
I just show you my life, and then what does that get you to do? You get curious, and then you go check me out. Inbound, baby. I don't cold call. I don't want to call you. I don't want to convince you of something you don't want. You know, all my business is people approaching me, sending me a message. And, you know, I've been in business with this company now for 4 years, and I've never made one sales call.
Right. Yeah.
Boom.
No, it's just, you just show what you're about, and people, you know, either buy in or they don't, right?
Yeah, the best sales pitch is the one you never see. The best marketing is the one that doesn't annoy the shit out of you.
So let's talk about marketing. So because for me, I'm in the entertainment industry. In my industry, and
I'm a fan.
You know, it's similar to what you do. In my industry, there's a definite thing where it's like you know you're always looking for your next thing. You're always trying to build your next thing. There's nothing guaranteed, definitely in the entertainment industry. And if you get something guaranteed, if you get that TV show or that movie, it's only guaranteed for a short period of time, and then you gotta almost halfway through get ready for start to build the next one, because as soon as it's over, it's like look at any of your favorite stars, look at any of your television stars or movie stars. Sometimes you're like, where'd they go? I haven't seen them for a while. They don't have the job security, or even if you are in the corporate world and you have job security and then you lose your job, there's another job somewhere waiting for you, probably around the block or across the city. But in the entertainment field, sometimes that's not waiting for you, because there's always somebody there who has the next spark, who has the next thing, who's ready to go. So, you know, in my industry, you know, we definitely have that. There's always the next thing. So as far as the feedback I get from artists, from actors, from performers, they always talk to me and compliment me on how I'm good at marketing or I'm good at sales, and they want to know why. And I've done panels, I've done producer panels and stuff. How can you do that? Because it's not necessarily the artist's or the creative's mind to think sales, marketing, pitching, promotion. Promotion is everything in a lot of times in entertainment, but a lot of times you have a department for that. But if you're an individual who's trying to build your own brand and then get people to come watch your show, listen to your music, sometimes it's hard, because that creative mind can be like mystical and fun and in the zone.
Let me interject on this. A starving artist isn't starving because their art wasn't good. It's because nobody fucking knew about it. Now, to elaborate on that is, it's a business. You know, it's like you had, you know, Mr. Strudwick on, and I mean, you know, what's the odds of making it to the NHL, man? Like, it's almost neck and neck with winning the lottery. It's really tough. However, do I think that the best players in the world have actually made it to the NHL? I think there's been a lot of players that were phenomenal that never got the shot. And that, whether that's, you know, they come from humble beginnings and, you know, mom and dad couldn't afford a hockey equipment, or they just simply didn't know how to push themselves out. On a daily basis, I try to be a sponge, and it's like whether I'm sitting at the airport or I'm sitting beside somebody on the airplane, I'm just trying to listen to people, and there's talented people out there that don't know how to actually push out that talent. You know, put it in a box and then go and market and pitch to it. In your industry, right? Let's look at, I mean, you look at the Kevin Harts, right? If you look at Kevin Hart, you should watch an interview. It's with Will Packer. Will Packer is a producer. Will Packer knew Kevin Hart and literally said, man, the guy sucked at one point. He was horrible. And then Kevin Hart just came back and kept hitting it. If I'm you and I'm the funny guy, do you know why I follow you on Instagram? It's not because you're funny. It's because you actually show me the not funny side. Like, if you want to be an anomaly in your industry, don't start off with a fucking joke. Start off with something deep, because I'm coming in here expecting the joke, and then you're hooking me with something different. Right? That, like, automatically you're standing out to me.
Well, that's a good point, because, you know, I always say when it comes to putting on a show or doing a performance, at the very least, you better be exciting and shocking.
Absolutely.
If you are funny, that's a bonus. I mean, you're supposed to be funny.
Absolutely.
Going to a comedy show, you're supposed to be funny. But at the very least, you better be entertaining. Because the worst thing you can be is boring in my industry, right? It's like there's another comedy club right down the street. You know what I mean? So now tell me this, because I've been wondering this about, you know, I've been wondering how to articulate this to some people. So if you are someone who isn't naturally marketing minded or promotion minded, because I know people like that are going to be watching, who have immense talent but might not know how to do that. What are some tips for someone who might be a creative person, a very talented person, but has a hard time marketing themselves because maybe they feel like it's, you know, like it's too much, or they're being, you know, what's the word? They're being
They're criticizing themselves too much. They're doubting themselves. Again, it all comes into to fear. My biggest tips, and I mean, it's a great question, and every time somebody asks me this question, I kind of pause a bit because I think, I can roll off 10 tips, but if I'm being really authentic, even myself, every time I get on stage to do a keynote, I'm nervous as hell, to the point where, man, sometimes I wear a black shirt, I'm sweating, and I've done so many of these, and people are like, man, Ryan, you probably don't even get nervous anymore. I'm like, hell no. And if you ask anybody who's great, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, if you ask them, yo, when you laced up and you did your thing, were you nervous? All of them say, hell yeah,
Oh, yeah.
every single time, because I think that if you say you're not nervous, in my opinion, it's like you're not growing anymore, right? So people who are a little bit more hesitant to come out and say, I'm talented, but how can I push this out? I think they have to just stop everything. I think they have to take whatever time means to them, and whether it's they have a different hobby or they just want to sit on the couch, but they got to sit down, take an old school piece of paper, an old school pen, and be really honest with yourself. It's like the analogy I can give is everybody now, because entrepreneurs are like rock stars, the Gary Vaynerchuks and all these people.
Yes.
Everybody's a number one in the world. No, you're
Right.
fucking not.
Right.
You're fucking probably a really good number 4.
Right.
Not everybody's a great number 1. Be honest with yourself. And so if I know that, for instance, I'm a really good painter and I want to start selling my stuff, well, naturally I start thinking eBay, Shopify, there's so many channels now that you can do that. You can message anybody who has 10,000 plus on Instagram, message them and say, I'll give you a free painting. Just give me the shout out.
Right.
But if you can't do that, align yourself with somebody who does have that business aspect to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
I think that's not me, but we're good.
Yeah, we're fine. That adds a little bit of it's an alarm or something like that, I think. But so okay, so now this is another question. So if you then are this creative person and you say, you know what, fuck it, I listened to Ryan Holtz on the Wayne Jones Show. He said just take a breather and just realize that there's the hard work that's involved. There's hard work. I have to get out there. I have to face that fear, because the nerves you talk about, that's something that people understand even if they are an artist. That's
Absolutely.
a very good point you made.
Absolutely.
Because that comes even if you are an artist. That comes whether you've made the painting and now you're about to put it in your show.
Absolutely.
Whether you wrote the song and you're about to perform it for a big crowd that's never seen you before.
Absolutely.
And they have to attack those nerves in that way.
Yeah.
So they can still attack it in a marketing way. But now it comes the issue of time management. And if they're so busy with their art, it takes a lot of time to throw up stuff on eBay, Shopify, Etsy. It takes a lot of time to do all this. So you're someone who I see, you're up early, you're at it, your energy is very high. You have like a never-ending, you're like a never-ending fountain just spewing energy. How do you keep your energy high all the time? And what's that? And what's a tip for someone who's like, look, I wake up and I'm tired and I'm bored. How do you keep your energy up? You mentioned working out. What else do you do?
Here's what's interesting about that. People always, it's the fabric of who we are. I speak at a lot of schools, and I speak about bullying, and I speak about mental health, and I speak about leadership, and I speak about entrepreneurship. I think your question is huge because it can get broken into 10 different ways. Number one is this. The way the school system has taught children is to pick a fucking lane and subscribe to it. And that's the worst thing you can do to a person. I spent many years in my teenage years saying, what do I want to be when I grow up? And you know what I went? I went to Grant MacEwan, University of Alberta, looked on the little course load and said, what's going to fit my bill?
Right.
Heavy into football, got a scholarship for football, thank God. And I was going to I wanted to be a psychiatrist because I really love psychology. What I didn't know was that I could do many different things and I didn't have to subscribe to one label.
Right.
And I think that everybody's looking for, I have to subscribe to this one label. To answer your question, what do you do? I broke my horrible pattern of thinking in that, all the teachers and principals, not all of them, but our school system is made up of, a teacher said it to me best, and she said this: when somebody graduates, it's no different than a car being made on the Ford assembly line. You have a number. Do you ever notice, like, people say, hey, when did you graduate, man? Well, I graduated this date. Is that like your fucking VIN number on your body?
Right.
Like, did you stop? Are you like a piece of metal? No, man, you're malleable. So you can't come out of life and say, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I want to do? And think that you can automatically place yourself. Right. That person who's an amazing painter probably is amazing at other different things. And I think that the number one thing people can do is stop trying to put yourself in a box. That's number one. Number two, if we're on a day-to-day basis, people said, Ryan, you got energy, man. Ryan, wait till you get married, man. You know, things are going to change. I got married. I killed it more.
Right.
It's like Bonnie. Now I got Clyde. I mean, it's
Right.
on.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yo, Ryan, when you have a child, you're going to have a lot of
Shut
sleepless
right
nights.
down,
You're
yeah.
going to have a lot of sleepless nights. Man, I'm more motivated than ever.
Right.
It's like, tweak. Like,
Right.
you know, I look at my son and I'm like, you're not slowing me down. Like,
Right.
I mean, whoa, we got motivation like times 10.
Exactly.
So waking up early, you know, I love my rum and my gin and my wine. And, you know, I've always loved to have, you know, sip on my drinks. And I look at that and I say, you know, if you have too many drinks one day, it kind of makes you feel a little slouchy the next day.
Right.
So I've, you know, put limits on saying anything that's going to basically hinder my energy for the next day.
Yeah.
I have to be
I
really
love
moderate
that.
about that.
I love that.
And it's tough.
That's exactly how I think.
It's
and
tough. It's tough.
That's amazing because I've said that to people about my own journey. I used to drink like a fish when I was in my early 20s, and I can still put them back. Don't get me wrong. Don't test me.
It's different now, though.
But that's what made me dial it back when I was out in Toronto. Was the lack of production the next day.
Yeah. You know, interesting fact, and it's funny how this even came to mind, is my wife was telling me Jennifer Lopez maintains her energy and her look. She does not drink. She's like a vegetarian. She doesn't even drink coffee. And I look at it and I'm like, how are you like a zillionaire and you got access? You don't even have to buy it. You got like Courvoisier. You got like Cristal. You got the best liquor in the world. I mean, you could $10,000 bottles at your disposal. I mean, all you got to do is take a sip and they'll give it to you for free. They'll give you a lifetime supply. And she says no to all that.
Right.
And it's interesting because when you look at people, I think people always jump to, okay, maybe I was broke and now I want to be rich. And they're like, I want to go from broke to rich. Well, if you really analyze the rich and the 1%ers in the world, a lot of them are still working like they're fucking broke.
Right.
It's not about broke and rich. It's about the journey, man.
Yeah.
It's about the story.
Yeah.
Now, you're a comic. You're an entertainer. You have to stand up in front of an audience. You are not going to make me laugh if I do not feel compelled to you. If you start out your set with just jokes, I just start kind of like, who is this guy? But the moment you start saying, yo, man, my name's Wayne. You know, I'm in Edmonton, in Toronto. You know, I used to have this drinking thing. I mean, you're telling me a story about you.
It's truth.
Now
It's
man.
truth.
Good comics, I mean, a lot of their jokes are coming from life experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Which, when you deliver on it, I don't feel like you're selling me.
Right.
It's authentic.
Right. That's, you know, that was the thing I learned out in Chicago. I was training at a place called Improv Olympic out there. It's a very famous improv school and performance space. And something clicked for me. It was in the summer of 2014. I had this teacher named Jason Schatz, who's an amazing guy. And it was funny because it was a 5-week program. And the first, like, it's an intense program, great teachers. First couple weeks, I didn't get much out of it. Last 2 weeks, didn't get much out of it. But that third week in there, I had this teacher, Jason Schatz. And I did a character on stage where I was playing, like, what the fuck was I playing? Like a Mexican, like I was playing some sort of Mexican doctor who was in like a jail in Albuquerque or something. I really put something really sort of tough and I was doing like an accent and I was acting like I knew this whole world of you know, some sort of like doctor thing I was doing. And after he was like, what the fuck is that? He's like, how am I supposed to believe that you're some Mexican doctor in a jail in Albuquerque? Like, are you really selling me on that? Because you're making it pretty hard for yourself right now. What do you know about being Mexican, living in Albuquerque, being in a jail down there? What do you know about all that stuff? You're making it really hard on yourself to connect with us, to connect with the audience, because you're setting the bar so high that I would have to have the best performance of my life, the best accent, nail all the technical terms of being this doctor, and then talk about things in the Albuquerque jail in New Mexico, which I don't know anything about. What he said was, it's much more compelling if you talk about stuff that's real to you. Absolutely. If you find the truth in comedy, and that's the name of the book that's written for Improv Olympic, is The Truth in Comedy. I turned around, came back, and I was flying back and forth Edmonton to Chicago doing the Fringe Festival that year, and I actually was able to bring that to sold out crowds and instantly change and start telling the truth out of my life. And right away I felt the audience connect so much more. So you hit the nail on the head with that.
The thing is, too, is, I mean, what you're saying is you felt the need to create. And if you study, like, Michael Jordan had a theory, and, you know, we always talk about Michael Jordan because in some respects, he was the first human being that ever got, like, immortalized in terms of brand. He's an actual brand.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he became a brand when, You know, you had lots of racial issues and stuff in the States, which is not over with, but in the hype of it, right? So, but and Michael Jordan, if you know his record, I mean, he didn't start out as a genius basketball player, man. He got cut. He worked at it. However, he lived by one thing, and he said, people are always, fixated with creating. You know, the best leaders, when you really study them in the world, were fantastic curators, meaning that they, studied different people that they admired and then basically took it and put it into themselves. There's not another Wayne Jones. There's not another Mr. Wu over there doing the audio, and there's not another Mr. Holtz out there. So, I mean, we have everything we need right here. It's just a matter of taking everything and curating it and then figuring out how to tell a story. If you start being somebody that you're not, I mean, I can smell that a mile away, and then I don't even want to talk to you anyway, because I'm like, why does this guy feel so weird about himself that he can't be real? It makes me feel weird, right? Whereas it's tough. If you kind of follow my journey, it's interesting, it's complex, it's amazing, but, it's full of trials and tribulations, literally. And I mean, you look at, and I know your dad had passed away, and much respect, but the turning point in my life was when my mom passed away at 13, and I wouldn't talk about this for forever, because my mom was a single mom, and growing up without a father, as a young boy, it's devastating. Playing football and stuff like that, seeing everybody's parents in the chair, and I don't have any parents, and then figuring out how to be like a man, quote unquote, because I don't have that father figure. My father figures were coaches, teachers, people like I met. I mean, even some of my friends' dads were like, "Yo, Ryan, you want to go throw a ball out?" But the reality is that, people just have to understand, like, curate, and figure out what does it for you, man.
Right. So that's a crazy, powerful story, man, that you lost your mom at 13 and you didn't have a dad growing up. So
I'll give some context on that, just to give you an example. So, my mom passed away, and naturally people are like, well, who the hell did you live with? I have a sister that's 11 years older than me. But originally my mom wanted me to go live with my uncle in Toronto.
Right.
So, anyways, my uncle was, basically, once my mom passed away, my uncle flew down to try to get me. My dad came out of the woodwork and took him to court last minute and got custody because he was a living parent. I didn't even know my dad.
Right.
And now my mom's passed away, and her living wish was that I go spend time with my uncle. Here's what's interesting. At the time, because I was under 16, the court system said, no, man, you have a living, like, blood. You're going with them. And it was pain for me. But I wanted to run away from Edmonton. Everywhere I looked, I seen my mom. I grew up in Illwoods. And everywhere I seen was my mom. My mom passed away at the Grey Nuns.
Okay.
November 2nd at 2:52 a.m. 2016, my son was born in Grey Nuns, 2 floors up.
Wow.
So talk about full circle.
Yeah.
And then I think about, if I would have ran from this huge issue that I had in my life, where would have my character gone down the road?
Right.
And it's, I was just talking to my wife, and I'm just like, wow, like, I'm going to the same hospital that I looked at. And I was like, I hate this place. It's I associate it with just complete, bad stuff. And then now I look at the Grey Nuns, I'm like, it's the best hospital ever.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, right, you have to be a little patient with yourself. Sometimes things in life, they look like they're going to be a dud. They look like they're not going to work out. Sometimes I say to people, go with it. If someone's really saying, yo, man, Wayne, go the other way. Wayne, go the other way. And all doors are closing. I know there's, hey, hustle, open the door. No, sometimes be self-aware to be like, yo, just go with the flow.
Right.
Right? In business, right? For instance, for me, if you look at a general marketing company and a marketing agency, and I'm a fairly large company now, and I might be almost the most silent, I'm a fairly large company, and I'm pretty quiet about that aspect.
Right.
However, my clients, some people, they will not work with me because I'm evocative. I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to, say, okay, guys, let's spend your money on this, this, and that. I'm real. I don't like sales pitches. I don't like wasting money on advertising to people that don't need your fucking shit.
Right.
Right. I want to only advertise and market to people that are in the market for your business. So, again, sometimes certain clients come along and I politely decline.
Right.
You have to know when to say no.
Yeah. No, big time. So coming out of Mill Woods.
Ill Woods, baby.
Coming out of Ill Woods.
Ward 12.
At that age, without a father figure that you strongly connect to, without any parents anymore, how do you avoid all the trouble that you could get into in Mill Woods? Because Mill Woods is notorious in Edmonton for getting into a bit of trouble, especially back in that time, right?
And I went to Min Chow, and then I went over to Kate Chagwin, which is junior high, and
So how do you avoid all that? Because there was a lot of gang stuff in Mill Woods. There's a lot of drugs and stuff like that. That must have been a time that there must have been some temptation or an opportunity to go that way without, some role models. How do you avoid that?
I gave this talk at a school, and I basically said I became a professional social hallway entrepreneur. I learned how to play the social game really well. I had every hairstyle in the book, man. I had afros, cornrows. Cisco was hot with the blonde hair. I did my fucking hair blonde.
Unleash the dragon.
Unleash
the dragon.
Yeah, and how many licks, baby? But it's one of those things, right? So, I was always the cool dude, and then you get a little generalized. Like I was at school, there's a lot of brown, a lot of Asian, white, and then a few black people, right?
Yeah.
And LL Cool J was rocking back then, and I did the one pant leg up on the jeans.
Wow.
I mean, I went all out on this, right? But it was interesting because I managed to become, I was a cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, everybody was going out to the terminal smoking and doing all that. I'm like, okay, guys, I got to go to basketball practice.
Right.
Right? And then basketball practice, I actually sang. So I took choral music and played basketball.
Oh.
And these things really gave me a foundation because, once I started playing basketball in grade 7, I started playing football for the Edmonton Chargers, which is bantam.
Right, yeah.
I think it was about 13, 14, it was bantam, grade 9 or whatever. And, as soon as I went there and I felt, it was crazy because I'm like, holy crap. I go to practice after school and the coach is like, okay, put on all your equipment and we're going to do like 150 wind sprints.
Right.
And you're just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
By the time you're done, even if you want to do something bad, you're tired.
Yeah.
So I tell people, you got to get involved with stuff. And it doesn't have to necessarily, and like I literally like to use the word stuff because it could be anything from art classes to, doesn't have to be sports, man. It could be stand-up, could be learning a different language, could be anything you want. Just get stuff in your kid's life. And if you are somebody listening that does not have parents, and trust me, my situation is as bad as it was, not even close to what, kids are going through. I wasn't abused the 13 years my mom was here. I mean, I've been told this. Look what she did with her son in 13 years.
Right.
A lot of fucking parents can't do this shit in a lifetime.
Right.
She did this in 13 years.
Right.
So imagine if she was still here.
Right.
And it wasn't like, oh, Ryan's my son and he's the best.
Well, that's
no,
pretty,
Ryan,
that's
you're
pretty
gonna
awesome.
fucking fuck up.
That's
and
pretty
when
awesome.
you fuck up, get up.
Your mom gave you a really good gift by being here for 13 years and doing the best damn job she could at 13 years because you're a fully formed guy. You're out there, you're killing it, and so that's a real good testament to your mom, man.
I appreciate that,
and,
man.
and she's looking down from heaven and she's smiling every day on how good her son's
How are
doing
you,
right now.
your dad? How do you feel? It's tough.
I mean, it's really tough. Like it's what's funny?
How's that changed your dynamic in terms of how you approach everything? Everything. Like business, non-business, relationships.
I've always been a guy who has been like, okay, look, we only have one life to live. You got to get out there and get it and go for it.
And
don't
your mom
be
is
afraid.
sweet, man. I seen you guys at the game.
Yeah,
your Instagram.
she's awesome.
She
I'm
nice.
very, very
lucky. You guys
lucky.
look alike too.
Yeah, do we? I know that's the people say
hey,
that
Mom.
too. Yeah, she'll like that. She'll like, woo! Shout out. No, but she's amazing, and she's been really strong through it. And actually, she has dealt with a lot of death in her life. She lost her father when she was 9, so she didn't have a father growing up really after that. And it was kind of, he was in World War II, and he had a bomb that went off, and there was some shrapnel in his arm, and that kind of gave him like sort of PTSD and some heart problems. And he had multiple heart attacks, and then she found him one night when she was 9, so that was hard for her. She had lost her mom, I think, when she was about my age, and she's been around that. She's been around the death and had to deal with it a lot. Just lost her sister, a few years ago, and so she's dealt with that a lot. And she's such a kind, loving person. And to see her be so strong and to get through it. And she also has health issues, but you would never know it by meeting her because she doesn't ever talk about it. She never complains. She's so strong. So watching her, made me stronger just by seeing that. But as far as how things are going with my dad passing away, I've always been someone who's been, not afraid to go at it, to go straight at it, to do something scary. Still nervous, like you said, still that kind of thing, but not afraid to put myself in that position. If anything, losing my dad has shown me that, maybe there was some things in his life. Towards the end of his life, he started to change. Like the last couple of years, he started to shore up the parts in his life that he felt like, maybe he lacked in, or maybe he didn't give enough attention to, and stuff like that. And I don't think everybody has to go that path where when you're facing death that you need to fix everything. If you can start working on things earlier, the earlier you can work on yourself and take care of those things, the better, because I'm very happy that he was able to to come to terms with some of that stuff and to make a change. But for me, it's like you can really go any day. We could walk outside today after this podcast. I could get hit by a car crossing the street. If I did that, and people will say, man, Wayne really wanted to do that thing, but he never quite got there. Or Wayne really wanted to be that way, and he was talking about it, but he never really got there. So the time you have is now. And me losing my father has only motivated me to go get it even more, because now I know he's not only watching, but I know that time is valuable. Time is the one thing you can't get back, you know, and that's why Jennifer Lopez, she doesn't do all that, because youth is the one thing that everybody could chase. If anybody could pay, if a billionaire could put $1 billion to become 15 years younger, he would do it. He'd probably say, take my $1 billion, I'll go 15 years younger and start it and do it all over again, because we want that youth. We want that time back. So time is of the essence, and that's what it showed me. It's also showed me to really care about those that are around you and really spend time and make sure you're putting that time in. I know that there's some people, first of all, living in big cities, living in Toronto, moving to LA, you have a lot of people that aren't from that city that are living there, and their families are back home. And I talk to people in Toronto, actors, comedians, actresses, and they go, yeah, you know, I haven't been home in 2 years. And that's fucking crazy to me, because in that 2 years, like, how much time have you missed with your loved ones, right? Do you think just coming home at Christmas every 2 years is okay? A lot of people think that's okay. But what if something happened and then they're going to live their life with regret that they didn't spend that time, right? So I don't buy into that. I think it's important to get back home, to be with the people you love, to decide what's more important in my life, chasing this money and this business or spending real time with the people I love. And if you can't figure out a way to do both, you need to make the decision, who are you going to be? Are you going to be a family person? Or are you going to be a work person? Or can you find a balance? And I think it's possible to find a balance.
You know what's interesting is a few points. I had this guy. He's like a YouTube celebrity on my show, on my podcast, and we were just talking. He said, you know, it's so cool. He doesn't have a child yet, but him and his wife are thinking about having their first child. And he said, how cool is it that you're actually documenting something that your son or your kids can go and listen to for like eternity through this podcast? It's funny because people always, and I always say, don't jump to conclusions yet. And I know perception is most people's reality, but you know, for me, one of the hardest things to do still to this day is articulate what I'm thinking inside my brain into verbal, to actually make it understandable for people, because I feel like my mind is very complex, and you know, trying to have these outlets, you know, I literally physically have a large head. It's actually large. When I was 14, I was like, you know, you got to wear the 25-year-old guy, and I only had like 120-pound body, right? So my head was extremely large. But if I didn't have these creative outlets, I don't know what I would do with all the information. And I think that, to your point on your dad and things like that, I think, again, you know, that generation and generation with your dad and before him was always taught, and it, like, look at the world. It was, you know, mom stays home with the kids, dad's supposed to, you know, provide the living for the family. And in today's world, how many successful women do we know? They're all over the place. Me and my wife, we co-parent. My wife, there's no man of the house, there's no woman of the house. You know, we run our household as though almost like a business, in the sense where, God forbid something happened to me, she could do everything. Right. God forbid something happened to her, I could do everything. Right. I change diapers. I feed. It's the most proudest feeling to see my son at 11 and a half months react the same way to me as he does to his mother. Right. Most fathers can't say that. Right. Right. And my thing was, you know, hopping on a plane. 2016, I was on a plane 79 times, right? 79 times. That's crazy. Right? WestJet loves me, man. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Gold rewards. I mean, I can't. All the time. I can't remember my WestJet rewards password. No, but I'm putting the number and I'm getting the points, but I can't remember my damn password. And I can't reset it. They won't let me reset it. But you know, since my son's been born, I've been on a plane twice. And that means, did I give away some business? Absolutely gave away some business. I reformatted. I said, you know, I don't want to take on a client unless I can drive and I can be back home. And I reformatted my life a bit. My wife has her own business too. And, you know, we run a busy household. And you're right. Money is whatever. You know, to this day, I've never ever met a happy rich person. I've met a happy wealthy person. There's a difference. Right. Rich means you got money and you're fat and you fucked everybody over. So now you have no damn friends in the end. Wealthy means that, yo, your kids still love you. Your wife or your husband says you're the fucking person of my life. Yeah. And I still got some money in the bank. Yeah. And, you know, we did our thing, you know. And I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy.
Right.
Health is wealth. Health
Right.
is the biggest asset. In marketing and advertising, just remember this. It's like the stock market. We day trade people's attention, right? There's a reason I'm doing podcasts. There's a reason you're doing a podcast. I love YouTube, and props to YouTube, but I was saying to Mr. Wu before this, Mr. Sound Engineer, props to him. I was saying to him, I'm like, I physically have to take my time and watch a YouTube video.
Right.
On a podcast, I could be cleaning up. I could be doing everything. I could be
Right.
reading a book, and I have the sound going on.
Right.
Furthermore, if I'm a cheap ass, I don't want to stream no damn YouTube when I'm off Wi-Fi.
Right.
Right? So I can download the podcast. I can listen to it anywhere.
Right.
Right? And this is something that, again, we're day trading people's attention. When I meet with somebody, I have a meeting at 11:30 this morning after with the client, I value their time.
Right.
God.
Right.
And when somebody shows up late, Mr. Jones.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Next time, value their time
Yeah.
because it's the only thing that they have.
Right.
And I always say it's a humble approach, but anybody who's willing to spend, even if you like a photo on my Instagram or you comment, you literally took the time, your number one asset, to actually invest in my life.
Right.
Right now, you're investing your time.
Yeah. No,
You could be with somebody else. You
It's
could
true.
be with your family.
It's true.
So when somebody says, Ryan, I'm willing to give you my time, man, that's better than any present you
That's
could
a
ever
great.
give me.
It's a great thing because a lot of one of my, and this morning I ended up being 5 minutes late for this thing. So let's let that
Shame on Wayne.
put that on the record.
Shame on
I was
Wayne.
stuck beside.
Yeah.
I was
10
stuck.
push-ups each
Listen,
minute,
I was-
50 at the end.
I was stuck behind this humongous construction thing, right? But it's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse because at the end of the day, I could have left a little bit earlier in case of something like
Yep.
that happened, right?
Yep.
But this is the thing: is that for me, time management has always been a thing. It's been a
Greatest
thing
threat to
of
progress is
you know
ease.
what?
Remember that.
It's been a thing. But it's really been a thing for me. It's been something I've had to work on
Yeah.
because it's hard when you want to do so many things at once to effectively manage your time. So time management is something to this day I need to get better at. And I was saying earlier, time's something you can't get back, right?
But you told me before the interview, you said, "Yo, I was up on the phone late." So that's the responsibility, right? Because we
Right.
both agreed. You're gonna cut down on drinking. You're gonna cut down on any bad habit. You're gonna cut down on anything in your life that you feel is gonna hinder you the next day.
Right.
Right. But we're not perfect.
Right.
But you just said it, and that's something you should tell your viewers because everybody always says and I hate people that get up there and even at conferences or whatever, and they tell everybody, "Here's what you got to do."
Right.
And then I'm not saying you're doing this, and I'm not saying I'm doing this either, but I think I'm self-aware. Maybe I have in the past, and I don't mean to, but I don't ever want to come across perfect.
Right.
Like I'm doing everything I'm saying.
Right.
Like do as I do, and maybe not as I say, because keep me accountable because I make mistakes. So
Right.
all this shit I'm giving, blogs and all that. Am I doing everything to the T? No, I'm aspiring.
Right.
I'm trying to do the majority of it. I think for the most part. But yeah, you're damn right. I screw up.
Yeah, no, it
Straight
happens, man.
up.
And accountability is so important. Facing what you're lacking, facing what your downfalls are, is so important. I think it's so
But
important.
the only difference between you and I, and maybe somebody else wants to start a podcast, maybe somebody else wants to start a book, whatever they want to do, is I know I failed, but I get back up. I
Right.
don't sit on that, pity me,
Right.
oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's get some Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I mean, I'll get depressed for a little bit.
Oh, you
I
can't
like
do that. Yeah, you
but
can't do
not
that.
for an extended period of time.
No. That's another point. Is it's like you cannot wallow. And and I tell people this about being angry with someone too, or being sad about something. It's so important that it's okay to feel those emotions, but let yourself feel them for a momentary period,
Absolutely.
minutes, not hours.
Yeah.
And if it happens to be hours, check in with yourself and realize what you're going through, because all that time you're spending angry, you're really mad at that person for getting that job that you wanted, or wasting your time or doing this. It's all time that you could be positively focusing on yourself. So I mean, that's a great point, is don't wallow in it. And it's hard. Some people aren't built the same way we are.
Yeah.
Some people can't get up there and face it, but we all have to do work in some areas, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that, again, with people out there, time management is something. I mean, like I said, I have my 3 a.m. convos with my wife because, I'm always wanting to do several different things. And in my mind, I've accomplished nothing. So I have this thing where I'm like, I want to accomplish everything. Having a child has taught me a level of patience, because if I'm trying to do a lot of things, and my son Dejan's sitting there, like, he demands time. So it forces me to say, Ryan, take a step back. He's priority. And in a way, it's like I'm accomplishing something different. I'm raising a child. That's an accomplishment.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
any parent out
Big
there that's
time.
raised a successful child, you know, to like even just the point of like
To be a
surviving.
good, be a good person
know,
and alive and
like,
breathing.
props to parents because it's not easy. So, you know, I think that, again, you have to put everything in perspective. I'm a work in progress when it comes with time because I want to do so many different things. In terms of punctuality, that's different. I'm never really late to a meeting. If I am, it's, you know, something dramatic happened or something. But, you know, I really try to keep that. That being said, I am very, very cautious with my time. So a lot of people extend invites and lunches and things, and I decline.
Right.
Because I can't do it all.
Right.
And I have to give my time to people I feel, you know, to be honest, man, is worthy. You know, if somebody's just coming at me and hasn't built any values, you know, they're kind of right hooking me before they've given the 5 jabs, you know,
Right.
Gary Vee style.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, get out of here, man.
Yeah.
You're wasting my time.
Gary
you know?
Vee's amazing,
Yeah,
man.
he you know, he is, and he is, and I have to give him props, you know, and I read that book, Thank You Economy. And again, people don't know my story, you know, Google me, but it's, you know, when I started at the dealership, you know, and I had no automotive experience, and we became the first dealership to get featured alongside Barack Obama within 6 months of me taking over marketing. You know, I literally did what he wrote in that book.
Right.
And that propelled me to tons of media. And then in my head, this is where
What's the name of the book?
It's Thank You Economy by Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay, I haven't read it.
It's a great book. And you know, once that happened, just imagine you get into an industry, you've only been there for a year, and you say, it's time to open up my own company. And people thought, man, this guy's arrogant.
Right.
And that's another thing. People, I think they're either too afraid to be too humble or too weak or too arrogant. Stop giving a shit about what people think.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, I have retrospection, introspection, but if people start getting to the point where they're like, oh, Ryan, you know, maybe you're arrogant, maybe you're this, maybe you're that. I respect their opinion. Maybe I want to know why they think that.
Right.
Do I really hold merit? In certain ways, because I'm always looking to grow. So if there's something that I did to maybe off-put them, I want to be aware of that. But can you imagine you're walking out your door, man? Can you imagine you're in Brooklyn right now looking over your shoulder doing this all the time? Head on a swivel? Like, you're going to get lit up. So
Right.
in business and life, don't always care about what people are thinking. Don't worry about if you're too loud or too quiet. Just keep moving forward.
That's the word I was looking for earlier. Was narcissistic. Was that sometimes people are afraid of marketing themselves, putting this stuff out there because they don't want to seem ignorant. They don't want to seem narcissistic. Now it's funny. I think in Canada we have a little bit more of that than they do in the U.S. In the U.S. they pay and reward narcissism actually. And I mean, you might not want to be that. You might not want to be the Kanye Wests and Kim Kardashians of the world, and that's fine. Not everybody is. There's only 2 of them. That's why we know 2 names of them. But I mean, people are afraid of that. Now, when I'm in LA and I'm meeting with, you know, I was talking with a paralegal, an assistant of a lawyer down there who works to get people work visas. And I'm currently getting a work visa down there for an artistic, extraordinary ability work visa. That's how it works. So she said to me, your website needs to be on point. I need to be able to Google you and see what you've done, see your videos, see who you are. I want you to put all your stuff out there. I want you to put yourself first. I want you to have all that. I want you to go over top. I don't want to have to search and dig and find out what you've done and find out that 2 years ago you did a big show with this celebrity and this and that. And it took me half an hour to find it. They don't got time for that. So that really kind of woke me up and said, because I'm already someone who puts myself out there, but I felt the lack of love from others in the industry that maybe don't do that might be like, he's a marketing, you know, he's marketing himself, he's putting himself out there, he's this and that, and I've second guessed myself. Am I advertising myself too much?
No, but okay, let's back it up. I was watching Ari Spears, right? You know him?
Yeah.
He was on the Breakfast Club, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday.
Impressionist.
And literally while I'm watching, you know, Dejan's in my right arm. A lot of my life is lived like this. I'm handling business, and I got Dejan right like this. But he's like, people in the comic industry think I'm very arrogant because I don't really hang out with you after. I don't really, you know, partake in these industry events. And he said, it's not because I'm arrogant. It's just because I'm focused on my craft.
Right.
For instance, for me, I came into automotive. The average dealership, there's really good dealerships out there, but the average public, the general public, does not look at car dealerships in a good way. You know, they're trying to screw you over on a car deal. They're trying to do all this. For me, when I came into the industry, I wanted to maintain my integrity. I didn't do wing nights with the boys. I don't do the golf thing where I go out play golf. Not to say that people that do these things are bad, but I just stayed in my lane in that sense. I stayed focused, And I, in some ways, what I say, I'm the black sheep of my little area in the industry. Black sheep, maybe in the sense because I'm innovative, and I said I don't want to do things like everybody else.
Right.
I'm going to do things differently.
Right.
Here's the difference between coming on social media and plugging yourself and being completely annoying as an advertisement. Just to give you an example. So for me, I love Instagram. It's probably my number one. I love LinkedIn. With all my social, including my blog podcast, we're probably seeing 250,000 worth of followers and reach and unique.
Right.
So for me, I say, well, how can I get all that online, offline? So I do random lunches with Ryan.
Right.
I send people direct messages. Literally, I'll look at your profile and just be like, I really like what you're doing. I just did something that was interesting last week. I messaged 25 restaurants in Edmonton. And restaurant owners are always saying, hey, our margins are tight, and the whole minimum wage thing has, been a huge topic.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just messaged them and said, I really love your menu. If I was to come in, what should I order? What's the best thing? Do you know how many restaurants got back to me? Now, just to give the context, I get companies, because I do got a good following, offering free meals and free shit as influencer stuff.
Right.
They're trying to get me in.
Right.
You know how many companies got back to me? 2.
Wow.
2.
I was going to say 5.
And you know what one said?
Two is
And then one out of the 2 said, our menu's on the website.
Wow.
And then I'm looking at their Instagram. They got 323 followers. I got 14,000 something plus a pod, and I'm just like, wow. Like you could, could you imagine? I'm asking you, what's the best thing on your menu, chef? And you go visit the website. Motherfucker. Shit. I get upset because I'm like, I can do that already.
Wow.
So here's the thing.
One of 25 impressed you.
Here's where people get it wrong in social media and marketing. This is the remote control of your life, the smartphone. It is a conduit. We can get anywhere right now.
Yeah.
With this phone, we're connected to the world.
Yeah.
The object of this phone is not to live inside it and be like, oh, hi, Wayne. Hi, Wayne. Oh, Wayne. Hi, Mr. Wu. What's up, Mr. Wu? And keep it here. The real relationship comes when I meet and I introduce myself through here, and then I get right here.
Yeah.
Because now when you see my pictures your private profile, Mr. Wu, I know. I'm gonna figure out why. But now when you see my pictures, you're going to be like, Ryan, people you've actually met in real life, they hold a certain part with you just irregardless.
Right.
This is beautiful because this is our business card where we get an at bat.
Right.
We get to actually get the opportunity by the cell phone. But where we win is when we convert offline. I'm trying so hard for people not just to be, like my picture on Instagram to develop some sort of relationship. Now people say, Ryan, is that scalable? That takes time. Hell yeah, it takes time. I go through my photos, at least a couple times a week. If I got 400 and some likes on one photo or 600, I go to everybody that gave me love. Boom, 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 boom. Manual, man. I don't use no Hootsuite, none of that, man.
No.
Do we come down? Just imagine some guy comes in the room. I always say, when you're starting to do things online, check yourself offline. Can you imagine somebody comes in? Let's do a social media scenario. You should put in a little beep. It's like okay. So okay. I'm gonna get on my Instagram. Just now, we're gonna give it online and we're gonna take it offline. Can you imagine somebody comes in? I'm gonna follow 25 people right now. So you come in to the room and you're like, hi, and you're like, listen here, motherfucker, you didn't follow me back. Bye.
Acted the way they
follow
did.
unfollow.
The way they did on there. Yeah.
It's not normal, man.
Right.
You'd be arrested for that.
Right.
So it's like, why would you? Social media is social media.
Right.
Hi. Can you imagine? Ryan, I want you to come on my show. Oh, hi, Wayne. Who the fuck? You haven't even said hi to me yet.
Right.
You want something from me?
Right.
This ain't speed dating.
Right.
I want to get lucky tonight. Man, you haven't took me out for dinner. And then when you want to go to Boston Pizza because it's Tuesday past the Tuesdays?
So do the work offline to enhance your online.
100%. And when you meet them online, this is where the machine starts to happen. Treat people like, I don't know Mr. Wu, but I was at his kitchen table. I'm like, I like your granite. Can I have some water? He's like, my kitty litter's in the bathroom. No problem. I got to use the washroom. Hey, but dude, what's your Instagram? He's on my Instagram now.
Right.
I mean, look at the chain of events.
Right.
Kitty litter, nice granite countertops.
Right.
It's a fucked up situation, but it works.
You know what?
It works.
Kitty litter.
It works.
Yeah. He's actually starting a new podcast called Kitty Litter and Granite Countertops.
Well,
it's gonna take off big, man. I'm feeling it.
I want 2% royalty on that. Okay, I'm gonna use this and this as documentation.
Kitty Litter and Granite Countertops. Pat Wu back in the house.
Yeah. But that's my point, is that people just like there's certain things that aggravate me. It's like, well, if you don't like my picture, I won't like your picture. It's like people read into things too much. Maybe the new Instagram algorithm. Maybe you're not even seeing the profile anymore. Maybe somebody's just busy. Don't always assume the worst. You know, like for me, I try to always give love. But then at the same time, I gotta handle business. I mean, I can't sit on my phone all day.
Well, it's hard, man. It's
a balance.
It's a balance, and it goes back to time management. It goes back to waking up early. It goes back to and man, you're preaching to the choir on being in the online, offline. For me, a lot of people in my industry have, like in Toronto, it's a major commercial market. So that's where they film the majority of television commercials in Canada is filmed in Toronto. And when I'm out there auditioning for that stuff, they didn't want to give me commercials. They're like, I'm not really the everyman. I'm too big. I look like a guy who should be like an Eastern European mobster or something like that, or like a bouncer.
But these same guys, they're going to sink. And I'll tell you why. What the fuck does the everyday man look like?
Right.
Holy.
Right.
Come on. The moment people started getting in the back of people's private passenger cars, Uber. Right. I mean, the shit changed. What is
it? Changes.
Even I go in to try to buy jeans. I'm like, I'm a Jamaican man. I got a big ass. You're making these jeans for a little schoolgirl.
Right.
What the fuck is that?
Right.
Yeah. Like, what's the everyday person? I love the world in the sense of, and we were talking about upstairs. Mr. Wu was talking about his son, but just made a minor reference saying, this YouTube, it's a fine balance because we gotta take like the stigmatization off, topics that should be stigmatized are not becoming stigmatized because it's like we're getting so used to seeing everything. That's slippery slope, but I love it in the sense that, we always talk about inclusivity. We talk about, it's an open world, and I love it now. Corporate world, you don't have to wear a suit and tie anymore.
Changing.
If you judge somebody by what they wear now, I think you're completely more moronic because
totally.
Because I mean, especially in Alberta, I mean, you could have a guy that's in trade, he's a plumber and he's making $2 million a year because he's got so it's like, who is the average guy? That way of thinking, and you're right, that's agency. I'm in the agency world in terms of marketing, in terms of, brand deals and things like that. They're going to collapse one day.
And that's why that's why I don't give that industry a lot of love, because I don't feel any love from it.
You know how you get ad deals now? You become the media.
Right.
How many people, we talked about this,
YouTube
stars, right?
For sure.
I mean, even me, like I got so much free stuff that comes.
You make them come to you rather than you go to them, right?
Even my podcast, I got advertisers that want to advertise. I have not accepted any of them because I don't feel they're a good fit at this point. But once you start getting some eyeballs and people are like, what, who, when, and how, they come to you.
For sure. And I've been,
you.
I've been. That's what I tell people is they go, well, what have you, like, what have you done commercials? Have you been on TV? Have you done all this kind of stuff? And I go, you know what? I'm moving into TV and film right now, and that's where I'm heading to. But what I've focused on is the live show experience, touring, getting out there and actually reaching people. They know who I am. If I do
thing you haven't done with the live show is you haven't videoed that enough.
No, I haven't videoed enough.
I even looked for that a little bit, and I'm like, you got to.
Well, it's hard with improv comedy. It's hard because you really have to. I'd have to have a 2-camera or a 3-camera setup. You can't just do it. Stand up, it's straight on. But with improv comedy, we're taking you into a world of like a film or a television. So it's the reason why there isn't a lot of improv on TV. The only show there's ever been is Whose Line Is It Anyway? And Nick Cannon does a little bit of a something wild and out thing, but it's because it's hard to capture.
The same thing you do with this
improv,
right now.
right?
You throw up your banner. You do improv right now, man. You do improv any day because people need to see it, and once they see it, they're like, oh, okay.
No, but you're definitely right. I've definitely lacked in that respect, and and there's been things where I'm like, fuck, I wish that was recorded.
Yeah.
Because we murdered it.
Yeah.
People were on the floor, rolling around, dying.
Yeah.
And the only people that will ever know that were the ones who were in that room, right?
And everybody, like, once that video goes on YouTube, now you're explored to the world. And I mean, honestly, man, all it takes is one person.
Yeah.
And just remember, it's funny. If you especially when you go to LA, and I have a lot of experience with LA because I play ball there, but LA is a different beast. We got the Weinstein, right? Ooh, Harvey Weinstein,
Gross.
bad boy, right? However, and that is sick, but in Hollywood, it's weird. When you go to pitch people, and it's kind of like life, they don't want to be pitched to. And I say this in marketing. The best marketing is timely. It's if you're in the market for an on-air sign, and I'm the company that does that, and I say, I'm going to take out a Facebook ad, and I'm going to leverage it with comedians, podcasters, and I only want to show it to them in their timeline. The conversion rate on that on-air company is going to go through the roof because you're showing it to the people who actually want to buy it in the time that they do. Nobody clicks on an ad if they don't want to click on an ad. Like, nobody wakes up and I get on the toilet, I'm buck naked. By the way, and your phone is a cesspool. It's the dirtiest thing, that it's dirtier than your ass and your mouth. But
for sure.
nobody wants
My phone or my phone or all phones?
all phones.
Okay, good.
Nobody wants an advertisement and a pitch when it's not conducive for them.
Right.
However, when somebody's, just scrolling through and whatever, they're like, oh, damn, that's pretty cool. And it turns out to be the guy that owns the biggest, agency company out there. And he's like, I really like that guy. He calls one of his assistants. He's like, get in touch with him. Done. And that's how I've gotten a lot of speaking deals even. And it's like, somebody just seen you. And it could be like the secretary of the cousin of the owner of the CEO.
Right.
The point is that when you're one person, as you are, you always say, how can I scale and how can I leverage and how can I have balance? Let the internet work while you can't.
You know why I'm really...
Let the internet work while you can't. That's a quote.
Yeah. No, that's great. You know why I'm really happy about having you as a guest is because I don't get a lot of this talk. I don't get to have a lot of these talks with people because I'm usually...
And he's getting free consulting.
And I'm getting free consulting. Yeah, this was the whole point, right?
There you go. I'm sorry. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah. I see it.
I'm hustling, baby.
Yeah.
No, but but no, but it really is a pleasure to have you because I don't get to have these talks a lot with a lot of people who are, and I don't want to have these talks with people in marketing and stuff like that. You're not just a regular marketer. You have a lot of personality, Ryan. Yeah. And I tell that because of how I can see how much you love your family, how much of a good guy you are, how much you're not afraid to do your thing and be your own person. And that's different because you can go to marketing school. You can do all that shit. I dated someone who was in marketing for years and, she's a great person, whatever. She doesn't have that extra personality engagement thing. She has the rule. She's a hard worker. She works hard. She does her thing, but it's not the same. It's not the same as having an engaging personality and then also having the tools. Gary fucking V, that guy is intense. He screams. He swears. Yeah. He says, I don't care. I have to swear. I have to fucking swear and do this fucking thing because that's who I am. I have to be me. And that's so important. So I'm so happy to have you on this podcast because you're reinvigorating me right now on shit that I'm already on, but I can see that like your day,
remix.
You're like, but your day is filled with stuff that I also work at, but maybe don't put as much attention to because I'm, again, time management with me. I'm like, I got 15, 20 things I'm trying to do here, and they're all in different realms. And it's like to talk to somebody who, you just seem to be quite focused. And you still do a lot of things, but your focus is sharp. You do the self-care that it requires to have a sharp focus, and that is something that is invaluable. So I thank you very much, my friend, for bringing that to this show because, not only can our viewers take something from it, but I'm taking something from it right now, and I appreciate that.
Cool, man.
For free.
Absolutely.
For free.
Absolutely.
And I still owe you a lunch.
Baby. It's free.
And I still owe you a lunch.
It's Chris, baby. Bump to that. I like it.
Okay, so now we're going to get out of here soon. I know you got a busy day. I got a busy day. We got things to do. I got to go revamp my whole time management schedule now and look at myself in the mirror and realize what I'm going to do with my life and how I'm going to be more effective now after talking to you. So before we go, let's tell the people, where they can find you online and what Ryan Holtz has coming up this year and what you're excited about.
Sure, yeah. People can find me. I'm excited. I guess most recently, again, new father. My family's great. Everything's blessed on that front. So thank you. I was doing a keynote in Cancun in less than 2 weeks, so I'm excited about that.
Nice.
It's always nice when a company says, "Yo, man, you're valuable, and we're gonna bring you out to Cancun to do your thing." You can find me at Ryan Holtz 1 on all social media. I got my own podcast Ryan Holtz Show podcast, ryanholtz.ca, and just Google me, and I promise I will bring value to your life. And if you like real, down to earth, I'm your guy. And no pitch here. You know how to find me. When you need it, I'll be there anyway.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ryan Holtz, ladies and gentlemen. Google Ryan Holtz. If you can get involved with this guy somehow in your life, do it. He's a man. He's got great energy. He's got great tips. Thank you so much, my friend, for doing the show. It's been awesome to have you. And we'll see you guys later. Wayne Jones Show out. Peace.